Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, before I do get started, let me give a brief little explanation. Now, Superstar is a very interesting ability for those of you guys who do not know. It is a power that, if you have a crowd cheering you on, you gain strength from it. Now, think of it like Escanor from the Seven Deadly Sins, but replace the aspect of the sun with a crowd cheering for you. That's the best way to kind of explain it. It's one of the powers from Bleach I've seen that are very interesting and does make me actually want to watch the series to see about more and other diverse powers. Though I might skip the filler. Now then, I'm doing this ability because me and Blaze made a bet and I happen to lose. That does kind of suck, but right now I know I have to record another video and I've got to figure out what that one is, and it's gonna take me a minute. Now then, while I'm still dealing with this hangover, let's go ahead and jump right into the storyline. We will start with the Battle of Kamino, where All For One and All Might, the two are in their face-off. All Might, he's down an arm. Right now, he's got a villain in front of him and civilians behind him. He can't do much. If he dodges, then the civilians might get injured. But his power is fleeting. The world knows All Might is about to retire. And this might be the last hurrah, the last battle he ever fights in. And that isn't good. People have hope. People have faith All Might can make it through the battle. But that's another issue. All Might is fading fast. He's heavily wounded. And right now All For One is smiling. He's well aware he's going to win today. He knows it. And right now, he does go to rush in. As their ears were someone, they do come roaring from the side and crashing directly in All For One, hitting him with his shoulder directly in the arm. Right now, the man being sent off course, as All Might, he does go to stagger backwards and go to clap an arm out to try and cancel out the shockwave. Though, it doesn't do very much. Right now, the force going wide as Deku, he does get a land. Right now, him standing up fully and turning to All Might, who does go to glare at him with alarm, asking Deku exactly what the hell he's doing here. And Deku does stand tall, as the reporters do talk about it. It appears an unknown person is currently on the battlefield, but they're not aware of who that is. And Deku does look up, right now giving a thumbs up to the camera person as his mask does go to show. And they do take a second before they do get a report. It appears this is a UA student. And it's the one from the sports festival. Yes, this could be good. All Might has some sort of backup, but right now, that's a problem. All For One turning back and going to blast at a beam. Right now, Deku going to leap up into the air and over the attack. Before he does going to come in and he does going to throw a fist out, smashing into All For One. The man alarmed one for Deku does going to uppercut him, striking him directly in the gut. Before All Might does go rushing forwards. Right now, him crashing All For One in the face and going to break his mask. Him being crashed directly to the ground as All Might, he does go to fall to a knee. Right now, him going to completely fade from power. And this is not good. Him bringing him to cover his mouth and clutching at his gut with the other hand. As Deku does go to watch the man wipe blood away and go to glare down at his villain. Before Deku does make his way over and tell All Might. He's sorry about the intervention, but He couldn't stand by and watch. Young Midoriya, you really have certain timing, don't you? Well, someone had to intervene. Besides, old man, looks like you're out of the game. Perhaps. But Deku pushing All Might, and the strike that would have taken his head off does go to miss. Deku going to grab the pro and jump off, before he does go to land and spin around. Off one back on his feet and glaring angrily at the two. And he does it a rush towards Deku, as Deku does get a rush towards All For One. And when the two go to collide, All For One, he does go to watch Deku evade the massive arm and come in underneath, smacking him up in the ribs with a fist, and then going for a punch directly to the chest. The man, annoyed, as he's going to pull back. Right now, him going to release this All Might killing weapon in favor of different abilities. And he does try and send a blast of air directly at Deku, though Deku does counter it by striking it with an immense amount of force. And people, they do begin to try and cheer on Deku, as he does get pushed back by one attack that does send him flying. Him trying to flip over and catch his feet into the ground, digging his fist down and standing back up. And other heroes, they still don't know what to do. Though Deku, he does go to visibly grow in size a bit and go to bring his hands up, ripping free his shirt and throwing it to the wind, and forming All For One. He made one mistake today. He faced him. Right now, they're gonna go ahead and settle this mano a mano. What does he think of that? You seriously think you can beat me, child? I don't have to beat you. That mask looked pretty important. Besides, you're just some old dude. Come on now. I know for a fact I can win. Him smashing his fists together, raising his hands and roaring out, telling his audience that he needs some cheers. Come on. Good versus evil. How is this not entertaining? And the villain does a rush towards Deku, who does go to throw his hands down and go to thunderclap. Right now, him leaping into the air as is a pullback a fist. Right now, him gonna crash down and go to smash into All For One with his punch. Though the man does gonna hold up a barrier for bringing his other hand up, sending out a blast of air as Deku is sent flying through the air and crashing into a building in the distance. Him jumping out and going to fall to the ground. Right now, him injured but not out, ready to get back on his feet to continue the battle. Though he does get to grow in size a bit more, and his eyes do begin to fill with a little bit of power. Right now, him happy and climbing to his feet, smashing his fists together, and then rushing forwards. All For One quite intrigued about his power. Though one of the two to clash again this time, he does go to use more of his enhancement abilities against Izuku. And when their fists do to clash, he is alarmed. Right now, Deku pulling back his fist as the two do begin to strike at each other. And All For One, he is pleasantly surprised. The kid's getting stronger. Though, it's interesting. Right now, All For One being surprised whenever he is being pushed back. Deku's fists are bloody, but he has not given up. And whenever All For One does try and go for a more powerful strike, Deku does it a dodge. This time, him stepping in and wrapping All For One around the waist as he's a crash into the ground, bringing back his fist and smashing him in the face over and over again. The whenever All For One does gotta bring a hand to try and grab Deku to take his ability, Deku does gotta leap backwards. Right now, him alarmed. And All For One does gotta watch as Deku, he does go to smash to the ground on his feet and hold his hands up, trying to think about what else he can do, about if he should really start using those particular abilities. And the man, he does go to watch on. As Deku, he does begin to glow with more power, growing a bit more in size as he does a roar out to his fans, informing them, "Seems like it's working." Him bringing his hands up and smashing them to his chest, spinning around as All For One does glare on in annoyance. This boy's too egotistical. Right now, him rushing in with power. And this time, Deku does get a turn back. And whenever a quirk is fired at Deku, he does go to dodge, bring up his hands and smashing into All For One with a punch. It sends him flying down the road and out of their battle area. And Deku, he does get a follow. Right now, him rushing after All For One. And the man, he does gets it spinning down a road, crash into a car. Right now, him alarmed as he does gotta throw down one of his hands, digging into the ground to slow himself down. He's running out of time. He is dying without his mask. He's got to take this kid out quickly and get done. Him glancing up and seeing Deku. Though Deku, he does go to accelerate and vanish from his vision. All For One confused. Before Deku, he does gonna come back around and go to twist his body. Him setting on a punch that All For One does a turn and try to block. Though whenever Deku does gonna watch that, he does go from trying to put all his weight into his right fist to shifting around and coming down with his left arm. Though this time, All For One, he does go to take the blow as Deku does then go to spin. Him going to throw his right foot out and put all his weight to a front flip. Him crash the man in the back as All For One, he does go belting into the ground, bouncing off of it as Deku does go to rush forwards with a double strike to the chest. And All For One isn't sliding backwards, he does go crash into a building. And this time, he does get to stop finally in a strange cafe. Him annoyed. But when he does to climb to his feet, he does try to think of a strategy to handle this kid. He needs to distract him and take his ability. He needs to make sure that this can be done. Him stepping out of the building and trying to formulate a plan. Though Deku does not care. Right now, him going to appear behind All For One and go to strike him with a chair. Him being sent crashing out of the building and forwards. As Deku, he does come walking out. Him spinning the chair in his right hand and using it almost like a walking cane. Expressing to him, he's always wanted to do that to a villain. Looks like it's his lucky day after all. Though, exactly what does he think's gonna happen? He's the main man. He's the one with all that striking force. When it comes to combat, when it comes to mano a mano, it's him on top. What does he think's gonna happen? And he does get a glare down at All For One, still annoyed about what happened before. And the man does get to finally stand up, staring at Deku and going to climb to his feet. Well aware that if he's going to get something done, he needs to get it done right. He needs to make sure to take this kid on seriously. Otherwise, he might have to deal with another fucking All Might. And that thought does make All For One very mad. Right now, the sky beginning to fill with clouds. And when this is going to happen, lightning does just try and strike down against Deku. Though Deku, he does go to bring his hands up and go to punch the lightning as hard as he can. All For One, watching the glowing energy around Deku's hands, do go to form boxing gloves. And Deku, he does go to dodge out of the way whenever ice does come sliding towards him. Icicles trying to stab into him as Deku does go to evade. All For One turning and going to bring his hands up to try and blast light powers out at Deku. Though Deku, he does go to jab them out of the air and rush All For One. Right now, All For One, caught off guard whenever a chain does go to slide against his leg and pull him forwards. Deku going to bring his hand up and smash All For One down to the ground and bounce him, before throwing his foot up and kicking up into the air, bringing his hand up, grabbing the chain, and dragging him down as he does a slam all four into the ground. Before he does a look up at the copter and give it a wink, expressing, pulling the chain and beginning to spin off one around, him slamming into a lamppost before slamming into a car, dragging it over his head and pulling it down as he does go to bring his arm up and go to sideline off one in the face. And the man does a grab Deku by the arm and stick to him, before he does go to bring a hand up and try to blast fire directly into Deku's face. And when this does going to happen, Deku does get a headbutt him, before he does go to bring his arm up and go to flex hard. Right now, him trying to break off one's contact as he does go to start running. Off one, caught off guard whenever Deku does have him chained down. Now, Izuku, he started running, and off one, he had a choice. Right now, the skin on his fingers being pulled as Deku does get a spin. This time, him releasing his construct and going to bring his hand up, making brass knuckles and smashing them together. Off one, heavily pissed off. Though he does going to bring up his hand, him deciding to see about a forced quirk activation. See if he can make this kid's quirk go haywire and run. Though Izuku, he does go to rush forwards, the man shooting out his elongation ability and it trying to find Izuku. Though Deku, whenever he does get in close, he does going to make a shield. It going to stab into the shield as Deku does go under, bring his foot up, and going to kick out of the shield as it is a demanifest. Deku recreating a chair and bringing it overhead. Off one, annoyed, and going to bring his hand up to send another blast from his air cannon. Though Deku, he does go to release the construct, and it does a swim around off one. Off one, quite annoying over a chain, does a drag his arm down, blasting him up into the air. Deku coming in and going to send both his feet out, smashing directly into off one's chest. The two crash in the ground as Deku does stand there putting his hands to his side. And this time, he does go to look down at the villain and go to bring a foot to the man's neck. Him going to glare up at Izuku, and he does go to express, stepping off of the villain and beginning to sway. Right now, it does seem like he's getting to new heights of his power, though him turning with a spin. It looks like All For One doesn't know how to have it. It doesn't seem like he knows when to quit, or seems like he knows what exactly is happening. Deku throwing in his arms in exaggeration, and when the villain does the climb to his feet, he does a stare directly at Deku. And Deku, this time, he does go to bring his hands up and go to take on a stance, before he does a somewhat mosey backwards, telling All For One, "Come on, he's right here. You can give him a free shot if he thinks that would be good, old man. Come on now, give him his best shot. Let's make this fun for the crowd." And that does give All For One an idea. Him glancing around as Deku does go to catch his eyes. No, his face. Shit. Right now, him going to turn and aim, blasting on a laser directly at somebody. And Deku, he does go to get in the way as he does push him out of the way, taking the strike directly to his left arm. And this time, Deku, his wound is a spurt blood as he's a roar out in pain. Off One, knowing exactly what to do. He wants to be the star of the show, but he needs people to cheer him on. Take them out, he has no power. And this thought is followed by All For One bringing his hands up in motion and going to begin blasting in every direction. Deku, highly annoyed as he does, going to bring his hands up to try and create a bubble around All For One. Though his creations, they do begin to be destroyed. And civilians, they are either caught in the crossfire or start running away. And Izuku does begin to feel his power beginning to somewhat drain. Though that is not good. Though he does get to feel and hear cheering in the distance, it does go to invigorate him again. Right now, him rushing forwards and bringing a fist up. Him coming in his off one does get a turn, bring a hand up and stabbing needles directly in to Deku's gut. Though Zuko does a bring a fist down, crashing directly into All For One's shoulder. And the man, he does go to stagger a bit in the air. Right now, him going to watch as Deku does collapse to the ground, clutching on to his wound. And the villain does go to stand there, turning and looking around, before he realizes he's hit his limit. This boy certainly is powerful. In the future, he will be a threat, though his power would be useful. Such a shame he doesn't have the time to take it right now. Him going to turn and vanish. As Deku, he does have trouble breathing. Right now, him bringing his hand up to his wound and trying to think about what he can do. If he pulls it out, that's the only thing stopping him from bleeding out. Though, he's pretty sure coughing up blood. Yup, no, one of those is definitely in one of his lungs. Him falling to the side and trying to study his breath, making sure he doesn't make his injuries worse. And whenever heroes do arrive on scene, they do drag Deku to the hospital. Emphasis on that part. His power has yet to fade. And right now, with this big muscular dude, they're not sure exactly how to handle him. Whenever Deku finally got to a hospital after passing out, he depowered from his current state. And it did make removing the needles in his chest a lot easier. Though it may take him some time to recover, and they do have some worries about fluid possibly filling up his lungs, he's gonna pull through. Right now, they do have other concerns. All For One got away, and Izuku caused unnecessary damage to property. Right now, it's up for debate what UA has for a statement. A student ran in to help All Might against a villain. Yes, he held his own. Yes, he did something that was bad. UA ultimately did recover the students taken by the villains. But this current course of action, it's unsure whether or not they could or could not condone it. And Nezu is gonna have to make a statement on either way he wants to swing this. Though whenever Deku does get to wake up the next day after being out of surgery, yeah, he does get told about what's going on. Depending on the statement they make at UA, might depend on his future. Though Nezu does not want Deku's potential to go to waste. He is a good person. He might be a little, well, much of a showman, much of an actor, maybe is the right word for it. But he certainly does know how to put on a performance. Though his power, yeah, he gets it. Though he ultimately did step in and try to save civilian lives, even though he put them in danger. Now then, with that being said, I do believe that that is a good part to leave this off of. And hopefully I made this just interesting enough to get your guys' attention, and fun and a little bit more wacky. Especially since I don't really try and go for the most of the time shit-talking person during a battle. I've only done that a number of times, I believe. Anyways, I do hope you guys enjoyed.